consciousness as the fifth fundamental force of the universe. Imagine that human consciousness, the product of neural activity in the brain, constitutes yet another fundamental force of nature. It is as real as gravity or electromagnetism, yet far more enigmatic. Modern physics recognizes four fundamental interactions governing our universe. First is gravity, the weakest of all, yet responsible for shaping cosmic structures, keeping planets in orbit and maintaining galactic integrity. Second is electromagnetism, governing light, electricity, magnetic phenomena, and all chemical reactions. Without it, atoms, molecules, and consequently life itself would not exist. Third comes the strong nuclear force, binding quarks within protons and neutrons, preventing atomic nuclei from disintegrating. And fourth is the weak interaction, responsible for radioactive decay and thermonuclear reactions in stellar cores. Now, consider a fifth force, consciousness. Unlike other fundamental interactions, it isn't confined to physical fields and particles. This unique influence manifests only in the presence of an observer, a sentient being capable of awareness. The hypothesis suggests that when we observe something, we don't merely passively register reality, but actively alter it, reducing disorder in the system. In other words, consciousness may be not just a product of the universe, but one of its creative mechanisms. How might this fifth force manifest in daily life? When a person deeply concentrates on an object or process, during meditation, for instance, the object appears to stabilize, as if adjusting to the observer. In quantum biology, there are suggestions that consciousness could influence the probability of quantum events in living organisms, potentially enhancing photosynthesis efficiency or neural processes. The fascinating phenomenon of social synchronization occurs when collective attention from large groups affects statistical events, as seen in the so-called global consciousness effect. Even more astonishing implications concern psychokinesis, the theoretical ability to influence physical objects with thought. If consciousness can indeed alter entropy, this might explain the weak but statistically significant effects recorded in experiments with reg machines, random event generators. Future quantum computers might incorporate the observer as an integral component of their computational systems. Let's examine this hypothesis more deeply. First, consciousness as a quantum force. It may represent a special field emerging only in sufficiently complex quantum systems like the human brain. Unlike other fundamental forces, it lacks specific carriers like gravitons or photons, instead representing a property of information self-organization. This field might relate to quantum entanglement while manifesting at macroscopic levels. Crucially, while other forces operate independently of observers, the fifth force activates specifically through conscious awareness. The second key aspect concerns entropy. Classically, entropy as a measure of disorder can only increase. Yet if consciousness can temporarily reduce local entropy, this could explain many quantum mechanical paradoxes. In the famous double-slit experiment, particles choose a particular state only upon observation. This may represent not just wave function collapse, but active ordering under conscious influence. The third principle involves inverse proportionality. Consciousness's influence weakens with distance, similar to gravity's attenuation. Direct attention thus has stronger effects than indirect observation. Focused meditation on an object alters its state more noticeably than casual glancing. The renowned observer effect in quantum mechanics shows particles existing in superposition, simultaneously in all possible states until measured. The measurement act seemingly forces the system to choose. Some physicists believe any interacting system can be an observer, but if consciousness is the fifth force, then awareness itself causes wave function collapse. In this model, consciousness isn't a passive registrar, but an active field directly influencing quantum systems, reducing entropy by nudging particles toward more ordered states. More intense attention produces stronger effects, potentially explaining why inanimate detectors sometimes fail to cause complete collapse, they lack conscious perception. Thus, quantum mechanics may be fundamentally connected to neurobiology. Even more striking implications emerge for biological systems. Humans can influence their own bodies through thought, reducing pain, accelerating wound healing, or modulating immune responses. The placebo effect dramatically demonstrates how expectation alters physiological processes. Biological systems exhibit remarkable coherence inexplicable through classical physics, with certain animals like birds or insects using quantum effects for navigation. How does this hypothesis explain willpower in biology? Consciousness may directly reduce cellular entropy, accelerating recovery. Will becomes not an abstract concept, but a concrete quantum process in the brain affecting the body. The placebo effect works because expectation activates the fifth force, altering biochemical reactions. Biological quantum coherence may be enhanced precisely through consciousness, making humans not passive observers but active creators of their biological reality. Should this bold hypothesis ever gain experimental confirmation, it would radically transform our understanding of reality. Consciousness would cease being a byproduct of physical processes to become their creator and regulator. This could explain numerous scientific mysteries, from quantum paradoxes to biological enigmas, potentially bridging scientific and mystical worldviews. However, we must remember this remains just a theory requiring rigorous scientific validation. Yet the mere possibility that our minds constitute an active natural force opens incredible prospects for understanding the universe and ourselves. Perhaps this very idea will become the long-sought bridge between physics and consciousness that scientists and philosophers have pursued for centuries.
FutureMind. Imagine the future,